Oh, we started it?
Yeah.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I'm Jeanie.
Michelle.
From Limitless Healing Angels. We're going to do a little different, something different today.
So, we're kind of just going to talk a little bit.
Conversation.
Yeah, just the conversation part in our cosmic community. Oh, we got our coffee. So
Yes.
we're good.
Gotta have your coffee.
So, beautiful, chilly morning. I love it.
Yeah, we're both in long sleeves, as you'll see.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's probably not cold for some of you people, but
But
here in the desert, it's a little bit chilly. There, you can see you a little better.
Thanks.
You're like, thanks a lot.
I can't hardly see anything. There's so much sun today. It's so bright and beautiful, but man, I woke up this morning and I was like, brr.
My dog had to go out in the middle of the night, and that's definitely what I was saying.
So today's October 6th, and so we just kind of wanted to sit and chat and there we go, sit and chat about the energies of today and what we're feeling, and whatever comes up comes up. It's another one that comes up a lot.
Yes.
So look at how they came out too.
Transformation, forgiveness.
Oh,
That's
transformation,
a beautiful
crossing
card.
forgiveness. Oh my gosh. So we've got transformation and forgiveness, and they came out together, and so that's beautiful. Just giving that away. Look at that. Just giving that away to spirit, to the universe, just being present in the moment and forgiving anything that's bogging you down, the energies that bogging you down. And once you release that, well, bam, there's your transformation.
Well, to me, it's not just forgiveness of other people. It's also self-forgiveness.
Oh, definitely.
One of the things that I learned to do was I do it in the car. I would say I'm angry with, say, I don't want to say names or anything. I'm angry with so and so. This is, and then list off, just ramble, and then you can say it out loud, not in your head, out loud. I'm angry with you, blah 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 blah, you know, and let it all out, and then take a deep breath and say, I forgive you, and release it. That's not it. And then you got to do it to yourself. I forgive myself for not speaking up. I forgive myself, blah 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 blah. You know, just it'll come out easy, and then take a deep breath. And I forgive you. And after you do that, myself, then you feel better.
Because you're breaking that bond. See, as we interact with people, we have bonds that we create. Those energetic bonds, those attachments. Those bonds can become attachments real quick. And in the forgiveness action of it, and I actually like to vocalize it because I find that there's power in it. So if you can't vocalize that out of pride or ego, been there. Oh my God, been there. But if you can't vocalize that, I speak from experience. Start inside. It's all about you. It's all about self-reflection and working on the inside out. But when you get to a point where you can say it, because that opens up your chakra. It releases, it moves the energy around, because as you're speaking it, you're giving power. I forgive you. You're releasing that energy out into the world. Yep. And
that's why it's important to say it out loud, not.
Definitely. It's important to be like, I forgive you for the whatever transgressions you did against me, however I perceived that.
And I forgive myself for not using for being powerless or whatever it is that you felt at that moment, because we all go through something.
But that's not the whole
chickens. The birds.
The birds. That was the roof, yeah. But I find that ending that, balancing that with gratitude, because you're releasing the negative and you need to pull in the positive. So you've always got those polarities. You got to balance that out. And so if I'm grateful for every single thing, as bad as they were, during those times that maybe I perceived I needed to go through that. We all need to have that. You can't have everything good and handed to you on a silver platter. You've got to have the experiences. Yes. And I am grateful for the chaos because that's made
and
me who
and
I am.
and that's the most important part, is to be grateful for the lessons that you learned,
Mhm.
because there's a lesson in it, and if you didn't learn it the first time,
Mhm.
you'll repeat it.
Mhm.
Michelle raised her hand too, because she's
Oh yeah.
you repeat it, you repeat it, repeat it, and that's one of the lessons I try to tell my kids, is that, what can you learn from this, and try to look at it from a neutral.
Mhm.
Try to look
Exactly.
at both sides of the story, because there's your side, and then there's another side, and then usually it's right in the middle where the truth is. So,
Mhm. Well, it's when you're here on this plane of existence, you're forgetting the contracts that you made with each other. So you have these interactions with people in your lives that are causing that chaos, causing those patterns to come up, because
mm-hmm.
you've charted for archetypal patterns in your life to come through. And it could be ancestral related, so that like I'm dealing with a lot of the same things right now that my mother dealt with, and a lot of the same things that my grandmother dealt with. And so there's these feminine archetypal patterns that are presenting themselves in my life and for my entirety, and that's what it is. And you can I'm a firm advocate of the I believe wholeheartedly in the Akashic records. I've experienced it myself, and I believe that you can go in and change those or tweak them or whatever if it's in alignment with what you're supposed to learn. Your soul has a goal, and my soul's goal is to work on X, Y, and Z. And so I'm doing that. So those patterns will always present themselves to me at various degrees. Some are pretty harsh, and now they're a little lighter because I'm learning from the lessons. And I believe that those will, for what I need for my journey, and everybody's is different. You can at any time go in and say, hey, hands up, I'm tapping out of this. I've learned enough in that life, and switch it up so that you don't have to suffer through it. But it's a process.
Right. Yeah.
Even that I didn't know. If I knew that 30 years ago, I might have been like, But no,
Right.
I
Right.
wouldn't know. I'm very
Well,
grateful.
and I also think your patterns will repeat, but you look at things differently too. Because like when you're first trying to learn it, it's just slaps you in the face, and then it'll get lesser, because then you're like, oh well, let's look at this differently. What can I learn from this? And then it'll just lessen and lessen, and then you're
Hmm.
like, okay, this is good. So
It's funny that you pulled the Spirit of the Earth card because that's what I was thinking as we were talking about these archetypal patterns because they don't just present themselves with us. We are extensions of the Earth.
right.
And as the Earth is going through this tumultuous time of change and chaos, and guess what? And we're all hand in hand working together. I got it.
There, now I can see
I know I had to do that myself and I forgot.
it.
But yeah, it's all about shifting and growing in unison together.
Transforming.
And the transformations are going to be powerful. They really are, and they're going to be rejuvenating. And we are going to. You got to grow. You got to open yourself up and be open to the transformation. Be open to the growth for your sake, for our sakes, and for the sake of the earth. We work in unison. We should. I hate saying should, but it's important to work in unison together. Hopefully you're aware enough. We weren't aware 20 some odd years ago. It's a awakening process, and so the more but that process starts with you. You've got to go inward. You've got to
Right.
do the work.
And you got to do self-forgiveness. That's probably most important there.
Hmm. Yeah, definitely. I've had some stuff too, but not so much lately with forgiveness. Definitely transformation stuff.
And it's not going to take just one time. Like the tools we're giving you, you're going to have to repeat it every time it comes up
Hmm.
on that. You'll have to repeat it multiple times. It's not going to just magically go away. It's a constant. You got to keep working on it.
It's a stages of development, self development, soul growth. There's been some harsh stuff. It wasn't until I was, and you'll see these things manifest in your life. So I didn't notice the changes once I started I started out with forgiving other people. You know, you hurt me in this way, and I forgive you, and I release it, and I'd go through all that, and it was hard at first to do that. Boy, it was hard. It was a prideful thing I had, and I just kind of moved through it. But the more you do it, it's practice makes perfect, and it becomes easier because it breaks up all that stagnant energy in you. It breaks it up and releases it, and it got to the point where it was so much more easy to do that I started to say, you know what, I'm forgiving the wrong person. I mean, I forgive them for what they did to what I perceive them doing to me. Like I said, I believe that it's a, you know, a union that we have. So, but when I started working on myself, forgiving myself for how I reacted to them, for how I choices, decisions that I made based off of the interactions that we had, it was, it took more pressure off me. I felt so much lighter and better. I was healed from it. And it wasn't until then that the repercussions of that forgiveness and that gratitude started to manifest in my life. And those people that had hurt me had long gone from my life, um, and that they started to make their way back in, but on a very different level, very different relationship, and it was cohesive. There was no friction, there was no animosity. It was so different, and I was so. It was beautiful. It was absolutely beautiful to see it. So, and you don't have to choose to have them back in, but for me, that was like a check. You did a good job. You know what I mean? That was the validation that it works.
Right.
You know.
You know, when you're talking, I was actually thinking about when I was a teenager, when I was angry with somebody, I would write it all down in a letter. Even, you know, in my younger adulthood, I would write it all down in a letter. Never gave the people the letter, but, you know, it was like, here, and give it to the universe, give it to God,
Hmm.
you know, and here, deal with this. I don't want this anymore. So,
I used to do that in the women's groups that I'd run into some of the domestic violence centers that we had. We used to do that. We used to have a purging session, purging and forgiveness, just releasing. So they'd write everything down. We would all write everything down that was bothering us. You know, we could one specific event, write it down, and then just have like a ritual ceremony to kind of. And it was nothing big. It was just to help them to say, I no longer own this. This is gone.
yeah.
I don't need this anymore. It's not serving me anymore.
But I think the pieces that are missing on those is for the transformation of yourself is your self forgiveness.
Well, see the rose?
Mhm.
The rose is the symbol of love, and the white is more, well, that's more of a yellowy white, but I don't know. I guess you could say. But either way, it's not a red rose. It's not the love of another. It's the love of the self.
Yep.
You know, and so that's important in transforming everything, you know. And even the colors, there you go again. There's the yellow for the solar plexus and the blue for the throat. So you have to just kind of release those energies. This is your power. You're strong enough to love yourself enough to forgive yourself and speak your truth. That's how that goes.
Yep. And they
It's
got
beautiful.
green in there too for the heart. So
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
love is always what it goes back to.
That has been a huge theme. Not even in these videos, but just little messages here and there, and just those little synchronistic things that happen in life that I just enjoy so much. It's like, I love the universe.
Yep. Definitely. Well, I think I'm good. You good?
Yeah, it was.
Well,
So,
we'll see you
thanks,
tomorrow.
thanks for joining us, and have a great day.
Yes.